From CRI Simple Numbers, this is Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast, a podcast for those who champion market growth and anchor the nation's economy, small businesses, and entrepreneurs.
Hey there. Welcome to another episode of the Simple Numbers Profitability Playbook podcast. I'm Mike Maxon. That's Brandon Gray, back for another episode. And this week we are going to talk about entrepreneurial resources. So, Brandon, I don't know how many entrepreneurs we talk to throughout a year via ones that want to work with us at speaking engagements, conferences, what have you. But one of the common things that comes up is just like, hey, what are other business owners in? Sometimes I feel like I'm on an island.
Exactly.
Sometimes I feel like I'm running into problems. Is anyone else running into these problems, or how are they solving them? And they always ask us, well, what do you guys know of? What do y'all do? Or anything you can give me.
Right.
So
You nailed it. It's one of those things to where there are certain issues inside your business, and this is the first time that you're dealing with them, and you can't really go talk to your team about them. Sometimes because it involves them. You're probably not going to go talk to your spouse about it in a lot of settings unless both of you are involved in the business, just because a lot of folks are trying to keep home life a little bit separate from the office. And so it becomes, well, I need some help. Where can I find it? And fortunately, in getting to deal with entrepreneurs for over 20 years, you kind of pick up on a few things. And we can provide some guidance many times, but there's also some other resources that we typically recommend there. So we'll kind of go through the list of these, try to go through to the best of our knowledge, perhaps on, what the advantages are, what the disadvantages may be. And then of course, if you guys have additional comments or feedback on these things, just let us know. We're happy to include those as we move forward with additional episodes. So
yeah,
you ready?
let's do it.
Hey, by the way, before we jump in, Center Star, which is where I live, was mentioned on the news Saturday.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Tornado. So we had
Everyone all right?
oh yeah, we're good. There was some damage to a few homes and a lot of trees, but
Well, they ripped through the other night, man. I mean,
no doubt.
That was loud. I mean, that sounded like a bombing campaign out there. I mean, it was usually like really big storms like that, especially around here, an hour or two or something like that. But that was like
all night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so here's the segue. When a tornado comes through your business, what are the resources that can help? So did you like that?
Like it.
I've worked on that all morning. So we'll go with probably the one that we see. I wouldn't say necessarily is the most common, but it's definitely one of the larger resources that a lot of our clients have gotten a lot of value from. And Simple Numbers has gotten a lot of value from this group as well. And that's the Entrepreneurs Organization.
Yeah.
So for those of you not familiar with them, go check out EO for short, Entrepreneurs Organization. It is a global organization, and most major cities in the U.S. have a chapter. So there's likely one close by to you. So what we love to tell is that it was one of the things that back in 2002 became a directing force as to what became Simple Numbers as we know it today. And great group of entrepreneurs. I believe you got to be about $1 million in revenue to qualify either the founder or the majority owner of the business. And there's a few other little things there, I believe, along qualifications and what have you there. But what I really like about the group is it is very strict non-solicitation. So it's not one of those groups you show up at and it's to hand out business cards and try to get people to buy from you. That's a surefire way to get kicked out. And so when you remove that barrier, folks open up. They know that they're with a group of fellow entrepreneurs who are happy to discuss issues, willing to share. One of their principles is the Gestalt principle, which is you speak from experience, which is really powerful. And a lot of learning events as well. So I believe the way it's organized is each chapter also has what they call forums, which is a subgroup, and you might have 10 other entrepreneurs in your forum. You meet quarterly with that forum, go through different topics, issues you're facing in your business. There's a requirement for attendance. So I think you get a couple of misses, but beyond that, you're expected to be there. So definitely you want folks that are engaged and involved. So you get a lot of exposure through the forum, and we've done quite a bit of work with forums. I know several times the groups have asked us to consolidate their financial information into the Simple Numbers format and come and present, discuss, do Q&A with the forum in particular. Most of them have a budget for education. And so we can kind of help that forum get to the next level, you might say, through, hey, everyone kind of talks about where they are, but when you put the numbers up, it really brings about a lot of clarity. And more importantly, you can better explain a situation or an issue you're dealing with many times when you look at the numbers behind it. And so that's been a really good benefit, I think, that we've been able to add to some of those forum groups. And then the chapters, they have a lot of continuing ed.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Speaking, other resources they can bring in, tap into. I mean, it's just not about, I mean, the forums are great to me, but what the chapters can have and leverage, especially when you look at the global entrepreneur side of it, where from bringing things together to passing around information and knowledge is pretty good.
We got one upcoming in two in July or June, actually, that we're speaking at to the chapter. So they had a topic around, profitability or cash flow or simple numbers process and things like that. And so we're speaking to a group, and then a group of global entrepreneurs in in June, both part of the EO. So that's one that's very popular there.
Oh, Brandon, one thing too about it, to anyone who's listening who might be an EO, we always do a complimentary webinar for any EO forum that would like us to do it. I've done several. So if you're a EO forum and you just want a Zoom meeting on some simple numbers, high level finance stuff, happy to do it. We do that for that organization, as they've included us a lot, helped us out a lot over the years, and so we're always happy to just be a value add to any sort of forum session if you ever want to do it.
Good deal. The next one we hear a lot about, very similar to EO in many regards, is Vistage. So similar, and don't have the specifics around the requirements and what have you, but nonetheless, a group of entrepreneurs, most major U.S. cities have a chapter. Many Vistage groups will bring in a facilitator, and they have a Vistage process, a certification process to become a Vistage facilitator that's with your group each time that they meet, or at least formally meet. And so it's a little bit different in terms of you've got someone who's always facilitating the conversation. Many times there's a topic, once again, that they're going to focus on. They'll bring in an outside expert. We've spoken at several of these as well, and kind of facilitate the conversation and the presentation from that standpoint. Very similar in terms of, getting candid feedback. A very close group of entrepreneurs. So I think that's another great option for folks to look at as well, are Vistage groups.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, same thing. A lot of the ones we work with have been in Vistage as well. Another good one with high marks on what they get out of it.
Definitely. There's a third one. So that is another O organization, Young Presidents Organization. We've had several clients that have been part of that. Now, for Young Presidents Organization, I believe it's for larger businesses. So if you're north of $15, $20 million in revenue, somewhere in that neighborhood is typically kind of what the group is looking to attract. Once again, and that's not good or bad. It's just you want to have businesses that are of similar size so that you can share better, because you're going to have a different set of issues. For example, if you're $20 million, you may be a little bit more focused on owner independence than when you're $2 million. And so a little bit of a different makeup and different group there. We've got some clients who are part of that. One of our clients was telling me last month, so they were on their YPO retreat, and Richard Branson was the speaker, which is pretty cool. Big name. They got to spend some time with him, learn a little bit more about some of his thoughts and things that he's passionate about, and really cool stories came from that. So, like I said, a lot of times a little bit of a larger organization group, but similar type of process. Great group of fellow entrepreneurs that you're going to get good guidance from as well.
Yeah, awesome. What else you got?
Those are the big groups. Now, from there, there's a lot of other resources that we're going to kind of dive into here next. One is what we would call a peer group. So most industries have these, and there's good and bad with them. Okay. So the reason why I say good and bad is that on the good side, they're in your industry. Everybody kind of knows, with some things that whether it's terminology or systems and processes or practices or what have you there. We've got clients that are in a legal industry peer group. And so all of them kind of are facing very similar things. It might be more specific around marketing, in the legal industry, or if legislation is impacting something, they're going to be much more laser focused on that than maybe some of the more general entrepreneurial groups, which is really good. The downside to it is also its strength. It is industry specific. And so sometimes you miss out on some of the things that may be taking place elsewhere that you could benefit from, because you're kind of consolidating it to a group of folks that are maybe a little bit more focused. And I'll give you a good example. A lot of those of you that are clients have probably heard this one, but when it comes to things like productivity and scheduling, the dental industry is one of the best. And so as we talk about productivity and scheduling with our clients, we'll use examples from the dental industry. And so that can kind of help bridge that gap that sometimes when you don't get the exposure from other industries, that can help. But I've seen really good relationships form through the industry peer groups. Once again, it's one of those that we participate in. I don't know, Mike, how many do you think we have that we work really closely with?
Oh gosh. I mean,
probably a dozen.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, I was definitely thinking 10 or more for sure.
Yeah. And most of them, they'll have a couple of times a year, like an annual event. And we've presented at some of those to where everybody's getting together. And then you geographically many times have smaller groups that get together. And, whether it's with the smaller groups, a lot of it is looking at the financials through the simple numbers process, and being able to not only take each individual company and kind of give them a little bit of guidance, but to look at the group in total, which is really cool, because then you're getting industry specific. Everybody's very similar in their business model, and being able to say, all right, this group of 8 companies, this is what we look like together, and then compare your company to what the basket of companies together looks like. And so that folks all the time saying, hey, what's the industry best on this, or what should this number be KPI wise based upon peers or industry? And there's a few that they're still gonna be a little bit different, a few outliers, but it gets you a little bit closer. We can look at things like marketing percentage of gross margin or revenue, and we can look at total labor efficiency and get it much more granular, and trade capital signatures and some of those kind of things. And so you can really kind of get a more apples to apples comparison on that. So really think if you can participate in that, it's a really good one. Just be cognizant and know I might not want to only participate in that just because I'm only getting my industry specific. Oh, one thing we should mention there. So the simple numbers peer groups.
That's right. Yeah, we do that. We offer that with ourselves. When we were doing the community model, obviously the power of these groups have really influenced us since we have continued in, building what we offer our clients here. And our community model actually has a peer group component to it, where we do organize it by industry, or at least by business model, as close as we can. I mean, obviously you can't, we'd be running 400 different peer groups if you're that specific with it. But, construction peer group, for example, would have various facets of construction in there. But the idea is to obviously bring people in similar style of industries that could experience similar issues, problems, pressures, anything needed there to discuss. And so the power of peer groups is real, and our commitment to facilitating those continues. And then not only just from a meeting and talking standpoint, but how deep do you want to go with the peer groups?
Right.
Like Brendan mentioned, do we do data sharing, aggregate data comparisons? running through individual company scenarios where someone's like, hey, show my data and let the group ask me questions, right? And things like that of really putting yourself out there to get feedback from everybody. So we love that piece of it. Highly recommend a peer group. And I know businesses are at various points, or entrepreneurs, I'm sorry, are at various points in their journey where, man, they might not want to afford something like EO at the moment, or they might not want to commit to some sort of group that is sort of a required commitment that they got to put a lot of time into just based on the nature of what they're up against. But sometimes peer groups can be those virtual meetings where you can hop in and, hey, I can be with people that are going through what I'm going through, and then add some extra components to it.
One of the things that I've really enjoyed about the Simple Numbers peer groups have been the connections that were made.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone that I facilitated, I guess we got about 10 of them off the top of my head that I counted, I've had someone contact me after the session and say, hey, can you connect me with so-and-so? And whether it was something that came up around insurance coverages, a marketing technique, another expert that they mentioned, whatever it may be, and form those connections. Because I would say most of the time when it comes to an expert in a field or a specific solution, you're probably not going to chat GPT or to Google to solve it. You want to talk to somebody who's dealt with it and had success with it and can refer it or make a strong recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
And that connection, I think, is really important when it comes to peer groups. So, and two, one other thing, it may not be just for you as the entrepreneur. So I know there are peer groups that exist that may involve more than just you. So there could be one for your operations manager. There could be one for your controller or your CFO, the president of your company, if that's a different role than what you hold as the entrepreneur. And so there's one that we work with, and it's a group of building supply companies, and they have specific content and groups for like managers, store managers, operations managers. They've even got one that I really enjoyed, which was for the next generation, because many of those are family-owned businesses. And so as they had the next generation getting closer to being ready to take over the operations, they started a peer group with them so that a couple of years in advance, they could get exposed to different areas of the business and what other people are doing. That way, it's just not day one, here's the keys to the car, good luck.
I think that this has probably been the most, and I mean, man, me and you've been doing this a long time, and this has probably been the most, probably in the last like 3 years, groups reaching out to us and wanting us to be a part of this stuff, and offer everything from financial analysis to pricing strategy to analyzing the group as a whole to individual company breakdowns, and really beginning to put themselves out there from a financial perspective. Because of course, a lot of people listen to this. I don't know the company size. We don't pull that of people listening to this, but I would argue that a lot of them are small businesses, and most small businesses aren't paying an arm and a leg for hardcore financial. Sometimes having an internal financial person at a $5 million company outside of maybe a bookkeeper is expensive,
right?
And so the need to bring in financial resources, and it's been amazing. And Brandon, I don't know if you've just noticed it. I mean, a significant increase within the last 3 years of people requesting us to come in there.
I have a theory on that. It was really easy until the past 3 years. I mean, in context of from 2009 to 2022, it was a great season.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Sean Bussey on our community coaching call, and I think he hit the nail on the head. He said it was one of the best marketplaces we have ever seen for easy and inexpensive customer acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Business I wouldn't say it's easy. It's never easy, but it was easier than what it is now. And now, given the climate, there's more questions than there are answers. And so I think that's why we've seen an uptick in folks kind of reaching out and saying, hey, we're all just kind of looking at each other like a hog looking at a wristwatch, trying to figure out which way to go. and yes, Alan, that was for you, because I know you, when you listen to this, you love those analogies. But nonetheless, so they reach out and go, hey, who else can we talk to? So I've got one more group, Mike. I saved my favorite for last.
I know it's coming. Bring it.
Masterminds.
Yep.
So a term is thrown around a lot. And I would say it may go by a different name in different settings. But that being said, finding a group that is what we would call a mastermind group. So here's some kind of the characteristics of that group. It typically comes from a diverse group of businesses. It comes from a group that is also most of the time very seasoned. So they got a little bit of gray in their beard. They've experienced the highs and they've experienced the lows. It is a group that is very willing to challenge each other. And I think that's a key component. You don't want everybody just kind of telling their problems and no one holding each other accountable. They challenge and hold each other accountable from that. And they also many times develop a very personal relationship with that. And so it kind of like the name states, mastermind. It's a group of masters at whatever their craft skill of being an entrepreneur may be. And it's intense.
So real quick, can we just set this stage? Because I got to say it. I'm willing to say it on the podcast because everyone needs to hear.
You're making me
this
nervous.
stuff. Yeah, I know. So Brandon and I are notorious for the walking around BSing about ideas, and it usually happening somehow in a meeting in the hallway, bumping into each other. And that's how we started off with the Simple Numbers Mastermind. And so what was this? Was this 2018? 29.
The original conversation, the first started long before then.
Oh yeah. It took like 3 years of me and him talking about it.
2018 was when we launched it.
Yeah. And so anyways, we get, I don't know, we had like 12 businesses maybe in the first one. So we go up to Nashville. And by the way, we priced it wrong. We set it up wrong. And it actually turned out to be a phenomenal event. But we like me and Brandon are very entrepreneurial, so we're definitely versed in messing things up. And we had maybe one of the best entrepreneurial experiences. But man, we drank a lot, we spent a lot, we met a lot, and
man,
yeah,
they were. They ran up a pretty good bill at the restaurant.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, that was one of them texting Julianne at like midnight, like your credit card's gonna get an alert.
But like Mike said, it was the best thing that initial meeting
yes
brought everyone together.
Yes.
And so that was really strong. Great experience that we had with it. And I would say too, we, as Mike mentioned, we run a simple numbers mastermind. But we've had clients that participate in other mastermind groups as well, in very similar experiences and feedback. And so the key is it's kind of that next level to where, you're really kind of honing in, and many times they are self-started. So someone realizes, hey, I want to up my game, but I'm really selective as to who I'm going to let in the group. And it's kind of invitation only kind of deal. So they reach out to 4 or 5 other folks and they say, well, I'd be interested, but I also know this person who'd be interested. And, you get a really strong group together. The key to making it work is if you go on that kind of self side of formation, you need to have a facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to have someone kind of be able to somewhat corral the cats and keep the room under control. And
for us, it's Brandon.
Yeah, I try my best. There's a lot of folks out there who specialize and can do that. But that being said, I think that's the key ingredient of, if you just kind of say, hey, we've got 6 business owners and we're going to have dinner every second Tuesday night or something, it's kind of like, that's probably going to turn into more of a social event. You need the facilitator to make it work.
Yeah, a level of structure is key. Ours is real finance based, but also we've made it and graduated it into other topics as well. And we've done everything from we obviously have guest speakers. We've done visits to different types of businesses, fun ones and serious ones, to learn about processes, to learn about different things. And really been a cool journey to have those things. And now, once upon a time, we used to do like full day all finance. Now we break it up into 2 half days. We do group events, obviously dinners. We rent houses and spend that time together. And you'd be amazed at how much business talk is going on. I mean, it's not just in the meeting, but it's, hey, we're sending the waiter down the street to pick up a bottle of liquor we didn't want, as I'm talking to another guy about how to better, look for a new operations person that I've had trouble finding in the company. I mean, just constant business talk, and it's people who are uber passionate about it. And man, does it drive serious results.
It is a growth catalyst. And so if you're an entrepreneur and you're kind of going, I'm kind of stale, business is okay, but it could be better. But you're the driver, and it's going to reflect your attitude, your personality, and your mindset. And it's also going to reflect your ceiling, law of the lid, as John Maxwell says. So if you kind of find yourself in that position, I would find a mastermind group, because we've just seen it transform folks, take them to a different level.
Awesome. I think that's good. I mean, we could go, I thought about this when I thought about this when we first kicked it off. Like, we talk about outside consulting.
You can go very specific and the resources around everything that's out there. But I think just these are great starting points. So if you're participating in them, great, keep it up. If not, highly, highly recommend it. Because once again, it's a lonely life on the island.
Sure, for sure. And we can, maybe this is just teeing off future episodes down the road if we get into things like everything from outside consultants to software to, I mean, there's a million ways you can slice this, but we thought this was a good starting point to reach out to everyone on and let them know that, because again, a lot of calls come in of people legit, I've never been in a group like this, and I've never done this, and this group is a lot different, and so we really push these, and we think it's a good thing for business owners to take part in.
Good deal.
Well, awesome, man. We kept it on the rails for the most part today, so that's enough.
Hey, I got one more thing I almost forgot about.
So
I mentioned this last week. We've got a simple numbers workshop offering. We've had a couple of people already reach out who are interested in that. Go to our website, contact us, email Mike, email myself. It's basically going to be the simple numbers playbook. So it's the process on running a profitable business, and we're going to take you through what that looks like. So if you're interested in that, please reach out as we get kind of the specifics around how many folks. We are limiting that, around 8 to 10 companies. So once it fills up, it fills up. But if you're interested, let us know, and we'll be back in touch to get you the specific details around that.
Hey, and real quick, I have had some emails come in through like our contact form and everything about this podcast, but feel free to email me directly, mike.maxson, MAXSLN, at simplenumberscri.com. If you want to shoot me an email that way, it's available. It's on our website as well, simplenumberscri.com. And, you can hit me up that way in case you don't want to go searching around for the contact form. I don't even know how you get to that thing anyway.
It hopefully works, but I know a direct email will work. So
yes, yeah, I will get that one. So, but hey, we appreciate y'all listening. We'll be back next week, and stay tuned for more guests, more content, and like we always say, feel free to reach out if you want us to talk about anything in particular. I know we got a lot coming this way on the tariffs. We've sort of been we know now what it is. And we're going to now start seeing how things are going to settle with companies and some of the impact now that numbers have been released. So I'm sure we are going to talk about that soon.
Got some thoughts on it.
All right. Well, hey, you all have a good one, and we'll catch you next week.
See y'all.
If you want to know more about driving sustainable profitability for your business, or are interested in learning more about CRI Simple Numbers, please visit our website at simplenumberscri.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast. You can subscribe to Profitability Playbook on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. If you liked what you heard today, please leave us a review. The views expressed on Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers podcast, are those of the presenter and moderator and do not necessarily reflect the views of CRI Simple Numbers or the CRI family of companies. This podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to replace professional advice received directly. Consult with your CRI Simple Numbers advisor or another trusted professional if you have questions about your specific situation.